Imagine spending $30,000 plus on a used SUV today and realizing a month later that the most expensive problem on the entire vehicle wasn't the engine, the transmission, or the mileage. It was the option package you actually paid extra for. And the scary part? Millions of buyers actively search for these features because they think they're getting more luxury, more technology, and more comfort. But what they don't see is what can happen once the warranty's gone. Some of these options have been linked to repair bills worth thousands of dollars. So today, I'm counting down the 6 features buyers chase on purpose and end up regretting the most. And if you're shopping for a used SUV right now, that option at number 1 is something you absolutely need to know about before signing anything. This isn't internet rumor or dealership gossip. Everything on this list is based on documented owner complaints, repair records, manufacturer data, technical service bulletins, and well-known industry issues. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Number 6, Panoramic Sunroof. It's easy to understand why so many people pay extra for this option because when you're sitting in the SUV at the dealership and the panoramic roof is open, everything feels brighter, more spacious, and definitely more luxurious. But here's what that showroom feeling doesn't show you. Over the years, owners of vehicles ranging from the Ford Explorer and Jeep Grand Cherokee to BMW X5s and Hyundai Palisades have reported water leaks, clogged drain tubes, damaged headliners, and electrical issues linked to panoramic roof systems. Why is this happening? As seals age and drain tubes collect dirt, leaves, and debris, water stops draining where it's supposed to. That's when you get the stained headliner and the musty smell that won't go away. Let's not even mention that nasty mold growing behind trim panels where you can't even see it. And this is where the problem starts getting expensive. Reportedly, repair costs can range from a few $100s for a clogged drain to several $1,000s when water reaches the electronics or the sunroof mechanism itself. To be honest, I always find panoramic roofs interesting because some owners absolutely love them, while others say they'd never buy another SUV with one after what happened to theirs. Of course, if you catch a clogged drain early, it's a cheap fix. The problem is, most owners don't. By the time they notice, the water's been sitting inside for weeks or months, quietly turning a little moisture into a repair bill worth thousands. But at least a panoramic roof usually gives you time to react, while the next feature can leave you wondering what happened overnight. Number 5, Adaptive Air Suspension. This is the feature that makes a big SUV feel smoother, quieter, and more comfortable than you'd expect from something that weighs over 2 tons. When it works, it feels amazing. That's exactly why people pay for it. If it feels so good, then where is the problem? Well, over time, the parts that hold the air start wearing out. Small leaks begin to appear, and once that happens, the system has to work harder and harder just to keep the SUV sitting at the right height. And eventually, something gives. Sometimes it's the air spring itself, and sometimes it's the compressor that's constantly trying to compensate for the leak. Either way, what started as a smooth luxury ride can quickly turn into an expensive repair. You'll definitely know the moment it happens. You park the SUV at night, everything seems all right, but you walk out in the morning to find one corner, or the whole back end, sitting on the ground like a deflated tire. Why? Because a tiny leak in an aging air spring can slowly release air while the vehicle sits parked for hours. Now, it's not just a comfort feature, it's a vehicle you might not want to drive. And by the way, if you've ever owned an SUV with air suspension, I am very curious to know how it treated you. And if you think this is a rare luxury car problem, think again. Owners of vehicles like the Range Rover, Jeep Grand Cherokee, Mercedes GLS, Audi Q7, and Lincoln Navigator have been dealing with air suspension complaints for years. And this is where it gets expensive fast. Air struts can run $1,000 to $2,000 each. Add a compressor, valve block, or height sensors, and labor on top, and a full system on a luxury SUV can climb into the several thousands. It's so common that there's an entire industry built around converting these vehicles back to regular coil springs, just so owners can stop paying for it. When people are paying money to remove a feature that tells you everything. The suspension repair is brutal, but at least it leaves the engine alone. The next feature goes straight for it. Number 4, Cylinder Deactivation. Unfortunately, this is the one almost nobody asks about, and one of the few options on this list that can actually destroy the engine when it's actually supposed to help. The idea sounds genuinely smart. To save fuel, the engine shuts down half of its cylinders when you don't need the power, so a V8 cruises down the highway running as a four-cylinder, then wakes up the rest when you accelerate. GM calls it Active Fuel Management, or AFM, and the newer version Dynamic Fuel Management, or DFM. Honda uses its own version, and the Hemi V8 in SUVs like the Dodge Durango and Jeep Grand Cherokee has one too. And here's the big problem. To shut a cylinder off, the system collapses special lifters inside the engine. Those lifters are a known weak point, and on GM's 5.3-liter V8, they fail a lot. Owners have reported ticking, misfires, and costly repairs across the SUVs that use it, like the Tahoe, Suburban, and Yukon. What started as a fuel-saving feature is now your expensive nightmare, and you're probably already thinking in the direction this is headed. Once a lifter fails, this usually isn't the kind of problem that gets fixed with a quick visit to the shop. Why? Because now you're talking about lifters, camshafts, gaskets, and hours upon hours of labor. Repair bills can easily reach $2,000 to $4,000. And if metal debris made its way through the engine, you could be looking at something even worse. And let me tell you what is the craziest part. When I did even further research, this problem is so well known that some owners actually spend money to disable the system before it fails, because simply they just don't trust it. If owners are paying money to disable this system, imagine what happens when the problem is built into the engine itself. Which leads us to number 3, turbocharged engines. For the last decade, this was sold as the best of both worlds. Take a small engine, bolt on a turbocharger, and you get the power of something bigger with the fuel economy of something smaller. Of course, manufacturers loved the idea. Ford put it in everything as EcoBoost. Volkswagen and Audi built entire lineups around it. Hyundai and Kia followed. Today, it's almost impossible to shop for a modern SUV without seeing a turbocharged engine, which actually makes me curious. If you were buying a used SUV tomorrow, would you rather have a naturally aspirated engine or a turbocharged one, and why? Personally, I would not, and here is why. Millions of buyers see the word turbo and naturally think of performance, but very few stop to think about what happens when that same turbocharger, direct injection system, or cooling system starts aging out of warranty. For example, certain Ford EcoBoost engines became known for issues ranging from coolant intrusion to oil consumption. And some Volkswagen engines even developed reputations for timing component and water pump failures. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just spend 10 minutes reading owner forms. Don't get me wrong, not every turbo engine is bad. The lesson is that when a high-mileage turbo engine hasn't been maintained properly, somebody eventually pays the bill. The question is whether that somebody is the previous owner, or you. Because a tired turbocharger, neglected direct injection system, or hidden cooling system issue can quickly turn what looked like a great deal into a very, very expensive mistake. Buy the wrong one without maintenance records, and you inherit every problem the last owner left behind. Now we get to the part most used SUV buyers have never even heard of. Up to this point, we've mostly been discussing expensive repairs, but the next two are different, trust me. Number 2, start-stop and 48-volt mild hybrid systems. This is the newest trap on the list because by the time most owners find out this battery exists, they're already paying to replace it. Here's the part most buyers never hear. A real hybrid or electric SUV has a huge battery, and the law forces car makers to cover it for a long time, which is about 8 years. A mild hybrid SUV has a much smaller 48-volt battery, but car makers don't give it that same long coverage. They treat it like a normal part, so it's only covered by the short, standard warranty, about 4 years. And here's the problem, it's still an expensive battery, so when it dies after that short warranty ends, the whole bill is on you. And these are not cheap. As of 2025, the average mild hybrid battery in the US costs around $1,500 to replace, and that's just the part, before anyone installs it. Let's take a look at the SUVs people are actually shopping for, and the numbers climb fast. A Volvo XC60 is around $1,100, a Jaguar F-Pace about $1,250, a Range Rover Velar closer to $1,300, A Mazda CX-70 jumps to nearly 2,000 and an Audi RSQ8 is past 2 grand. Now imagine you bought the efficient one and you drove it 5 years feeling smart about it. Then a warning light comes on, you take it in, and a service advisor slides a $2,000 estimate across the counter for a battery you never knew existed, and on top of that, it's a feature that was supposed to save you money. That's the real danger here, and it's not that these systems are guaranteed to fail, it's that they quietly hand you a hybrid-size repair bill without the hybrid-size warranty to catch it. And almost nobody shopping these SUVs knows to ask the question. And now, let's continue with the one that has ended more SUVs than anything else on this list. Number 1, the CVT transmission. This is definitely the king. If there's one feature that has caught more SUV owners completely off guard, it's this one, the so-called CVT, or continuously variable transmission, which doesn't work like a normal automatic. Instead of shifting through gears, it uses a completely different system designed to improve fuel economy and reduce costs. Automakers loved the idea, which is why CVTs ended up in some of the most popular SUVs on the road, including the Nissan Rogue, Murano, Mitsubishi Outlander, and certain Subaru models. Sounds great, right? Well, the problem is what happens when these transmissions get older. Under heat and load, that belt and pulley system and its fluid wear out. At first, it's a shudder, then it's the hesitation and the weird whining noise, and then you don't even know if you will make it home. For example, Nissan's CVTs in particular became so notorious that they led to class action lawsuits and extended warranties. And the most unfortunate part is the timing. A huge number of these units start failing somewhere around 80 to 120,000 miles, right after the warranty disappears. Then comes the bill. A CVT replacement commonly runs somewhere between $3,500 and $8,000 installed, and on some vehicles even more. And there you have it, 6 options that can quietly turn a great used SUV into a money pit, so think twice before you sign for any of them. The good news? Not every SUV is a trap, and I've already made a video on the ones I'd actually buy myself. Watch that next before you spend $1. And if this saved you from a bad buy, hit like and subscribe so you're never the one writing that repair check.